You're listening to the Travis Makes Money podcast presented by GoHighLevel.com. For a free 30-day trial of the best all-in-one digital marketing software tool on the planet, just go to GoHighLevel.com/Travis. Hey, what's going on, money makers? Welcome back to the Travis Makes Money podcast, where it's our mission to help you make more money. If you are new to the show, we release brand new conversations with unconventional money makers every single day of the week. You might be listening to this maybe on another platform, another feed or something like that right now. So if you have not yet, please be sure to go to your podcast app of choice right now, subscribe to the show, follow the show, so you never miss an opportunity to make more money. While you're there, if you want to, leave us a quick rating review. I'll be eternally grateful, as it really does help us out tremendously. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about land with my new friend, Nicholas Lalla. Nicholas is an urbanist, and he's also the author of the new book, Reinventing the Heartland. Nick, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Not too shabby, not too shabby. I've had worse days, I've had better days, Well, let's kick things off here with a good money question here, man. Tell me about the first dollar you ever made, and then tell me about the most recent dollar you made.
That's a good question. First, I'm trying to think back to like my very first job. And I think my first job was summer of, I don't know, middle school, maybe. My family, so I was born and raised in New Orleans, and part of my family created kind of a meat packing company. It started as a butcher shop around the turn of the century. They were Italian immigrants, and created a butcher shop in New Orleans. And then that grew into kind of a broader meat merchant food services company.
Okay.
And over time they did pretty well, and it grew. And so my first job was I was like an assistant in like this will sound bizarre, in their like meat processing plant. So you imagine like dudes in white smocks and gloves and hairnets chopping cows up.
That's a great introduction to making money.
It's I don't know if it's great, but it's an introduction. And so like and they're carving, the bodies up. And I would bring different types of meat to different stations along their little assembly line. It's not like, it's a relatively small operation, but that was, and I tenderize the meat and run it through different processors. And it's like freezing cold. So
that might be. I think that's a first here on the show, Nick. That's a first.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting your question, but I think that was my first gig, and I remember being really pissed, to be honest with you, because I was making minimum wage.
Yeah.
And I was really annoyed because my godfather owns the company. So I thought I'd get like a family bump.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember being like 13 years old, 14 years old, being really kind of PO'd that like I was making, and back then it was like $5.15 an hour or something, or $7. And I was annoyed.
The audacity of a 13-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, hey, Godfather, like,
hook it up.
Pay your godson a little better. Yeah, and still to this day, like it's because I would have friends that would like visit me over the summer, and like we'd hang out like in the freezers. Like we thought that was really cool to like hang out in the freezer. Yeah, that like for some stupid reason, like, and so we still talk about that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, bizarre. It did not go into the family business, to say the least.
So most recent dollar then. Most recent
dollar. This is taking it from one extreme to the other. I published an article in HuffPost last week, and they paid me some money to write it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So it's not even like what you do, but you got paid something to write an article.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
Hey man, well, tell me a little bit about reinventing the Heartland. I know this has kind of been the project that has completely upended your life and given you a whole new purpose and mission. So tell me where this came from.
Yeah, so I'm an urbanist that specializes in emerging technology and economic development. So essentially, how do you harness tech and innovation to create good jobs for people? It's basically what I've been doing for the past 15 or so years. And in the fall of 2019, I founded an economic development organization in Tulsa, Oklahoma called Tulsa Innovation Labs. And the basic mission was to build kind of an inclusive, thriving, tech-led economy in Northeast Oklahoma, in a place that didn't really have that type of innovation infrastructure that we see in California
Yeah.
or New York. And the organization did really well. We raised $200 million in 4 years to invest in the virtual health, energy tech, advanced air mobility, and cyber clusters, kind of the strongest opportunities for growth in that part of the country.
Yeah.
And was really inspired by Tulsa. I was coming from New York, but an outsider to Tulsa, was really inspired by that journey.
Real
Um,
quick, sorry to
uh,
cut you off.
yeah,
How
please. No,
how
no.
did you land in Tulsa? What attracted you to there from in the first place, coming from somewhere like New York?
Yeah, so at the time, I was leading the cornerstone initiative of Mayor de Blasio's jobs plan, an initiative called Cyber NYC, which was a $30 million public-private investment in New York City's cyber ecosystem.
Got
That
it.
initiative got some good press, New York Times, Wall Street Journal coverage, and a philanthropy in Tulsa, Oklahoma picked up on it. The George Kaiser Family Foundation reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma?" And I
No,
had
I
to say
haven't.
respectfully, I hadn't,
Funny you should
but I
ask.
love,
Yeah.
yeah, right. But love cities, would love to come visit. Visited, thought it was a beautiful town. Was really inspired by the civic pride that I felt from everybody that I spoke to. Tulsa wants to do big things, and they're kind of putting their money where their mouth is, and saw an opportunity to contribute to the region, and presented the George Kaiser Family Foundation's board of directors on a vision for tech-led growth. How do you build an innovation economy kind of from the bottom up? And they said, "Hey, that sounds like a pretty good idea. How about you come lead that effort?" So I moved to Tulsa. We created Tulsa Innovation Labs. 4 years later, raised a lot of money. It's growing thousands of tech jobs in the region, and um, was really inspired by that experience. Wanted to kind of memorialize kind of my founding vision for Tulsa Innovation Labs and help other cities pivot from legacy industries to tech. How do you grow good paying, resilient tech jobs in this day and age, particularly for mid-sized cities in the American heartland that have been kind of struggling to make that transition over the past 10 or so years.
Yeah.
So the book Reinventing the Heartland kind of captures that experience, lays out kind of my founding vision for Tulsa Innovation Labs, and is essentially structured as an action plan for urban reinvention. So kind of 10 steps to building a tech hub in the heartland.
And now you've stayed in Tulsa, right?
No, I've moved around a little bit.
Okay.
So my personal journey has kind of been nutty over the past 18 months or so with my partner's move, but I'm in New York
You're back
now
in New
at the
York. Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you like the fast paced environment of New York after having experienced the kind of slower pace? Everybody's got room to spread out and move around type of life that I assume, would have experienced in Tulsa.
Yeah, it's totally different vibes in a lot of respects. I remember, when I moved to Tulsa in the first place, remember finding kind of Tulsa's slower pace really refreshing and
Yeah.
kind of therapeutic. You're not rushing from one place to another. Um, your sidewalks aren't jammed with 1,000 different people. There's not cabs honking at you, whatever.
People are
And
actually
so
nice there.
people are friendly. And so the quality of life in Tulsa in a lot of respects is higher than in Manhattan. If you want to own a home, if you want to start a company, um, all of that's relatively easier to do compared to New York, where just cost of living makes everything harder and riskier.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of is a key component of kind of the value proposition for heartland cities in the first place. Um, and the other thing that I think colleagues of mine, when I told them I was taking the job in Tulsa, they were like, WTF, why are you going to Tulsa?
Yeah.
Um, and what I found so exciting was that there's opportunities to do big things. There's opportunities to make money in Tulsa, right? Which people don't necessarily think of
Sure.
when they think of Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you think, how do I make a lot of money? You're probably not thinking of Northeast Oklahoma, right? But I think what drew me to the city in the first place was that big things are happening. They are making mega investments across the city, particularly in tech and innovation. That's what drew me to them in the first place. That's
Yeah.
what Tulsa Innovation Labs is all about. And so I didn't think that it didn't feel like the middle of nowhere to me. It didn't feel super sleepy. Quite the opposite. In fact, people might be walking slower down the streets, but big things are happening, and the opportunity to kind of totally remake an economy and create job opportunities for thousands of people, I thought was compelling and unique, and something that honestly I wasn't really seeing in New York.
Yeah. You've mentioned the term urbanist a couple of times, and I said it in the intro. Can you tell us first of all, what that is, and then how does one become an urbanist?
Sure. Yeah, and it's admittedly, it's a little bit of a jargony. Um, I mean, to put it as simply as I can, my I've dedicated my professional life to helping cities thrive.
Hmm.
Is basically my broad shorthand definition for an urbanist. Um, Folks that care about how cities operate, run, planned, managed, et cetera. Um, and that can obviously take multiple different facets. For me, uh, I grew up in New Orleans. Hurricane Katrina struck my hometown the summer before the summer before my second year in college, um, and that really kind of catapulted me into the world of cities
Hmm.
and urbanism. So started thinking about how race and politics and poverty play out at the urban level, how issues like climate change and urban resilience are important to coastal cities, but increasingly inland cities, and then have shifted over time to uh, recognize that a key component of urban vitality, a key component of urban resilience, um, is a diverse and healthy economy. Do people have good jobs so that they can provide for themselves and their families? And
Yeah.
so over the past 10 or so years, I've really been focused on economic mobility, economic inclusion, making sure folks that have the opportunity to start their own business or get the education or skills that they need to thrive in the economy.
Is
So
that
I consider all of that kind of part of the urbanism profession.
is that like a field of study in college, or is that do you go to study like economics or something, and then you just kind of move into this other more niche area afterwards?
Yeah, it runs the gamut. I studied English in college, so I don't
Okay.
make that. um, and then studied African American studies in graduate school. Actually, the intersection of public policy, critical race studies, and urban planning.
Okay.
Really focusing on post Katrina New Orleans, but it is a profession. There's urban studies programs, urban planning. Some folks learn environmental sciences or climate change or sustainability studies. Some folks get MBAs, some folks get masters of public policies or public administration, civil engineering. It kind of spans
Sure.
quite a broad spectrum. It's a very interdisciplinary field, so folks can kind of study what they want and make pivots based on work experience over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, if folks are interested, take a look at urban studies or urban planning courses.
Yeah. So is this something that when you come out, you're looking at how do I get involved in like local government, or are you acting more as like a consultant for government adjacent private companies, or what exactly, like how exactly do you start working in a field like that?
Yeah, so it depends on your interests. If you're going toward a built environment, real estate development, civil engineering route, that's one direction. If you're going in an economic inclusion, economic mobility, workforce development, that might be another route. If you're going in municipal government, that could be
Hmm.
a different route. For me, um, I knew that I wanted to study New Orleans. I wanted to study post Katrina New Orleans, how race and poverty and politics intersect at the urban level, what cities can do through arts and culture projects to help
Okay.
rebuild cities after traumatic events. I had zero work experience in this field um, until grad school. And so when I completed my master's, I went to work for New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu as an intern.
Oh wow.
So I started as an intern for my hometown mayor, and then moved to Washington D.C., where I worked for the Urban Land Institute,
Wow.
which is a real estate advisory organization and membership organization. Started as an intern there, and then worked my way up to analyst to the CEO and CCO, and then kind of career took off from there. But I guess my bottom line advice, if I'm giving advice to folks looking to enter the field, is to basically study what you want in college, make sure that you're getting kind of a strong liberal arts foundation, and then get work experience with organizations that you're passionate about, whatever kind of form that might take.
Yeah, these are kind of my selfish questions, bro. Just because I'm always curious. There's just so many ways to make money. There's so many ways to have a career, and if like I like stuff like this where you noticed a problem, and it's crazy how just like events can shape us. You know what I mean? And so like obviously Katrina was a an event that was literally affected the entire planet. It was so devastating. But then for someone like you took that like personally and then made it an actual challenge for you to, you know what, something could probably have been like done about this to help prevent these things. So I'm just fascinated with how many different like career options and paths that there are to be able to monetize what you want to see out in the world. So congrats to you for being able to make that work, man. That's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is, it felt like, and this will sound cheesy, but it felt like a calling. Like I felt like the universe was propelling me in a particular direction. And then honestly, it took me several years to figure out how to make money at it, right?
Sure, sure.
But have gotten there, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you kind of figured out the path and made it work. And
Yeah.
now you have the book Reinventing the Heartland, which is basically something that you're hoping to get in the hands of other people who want to make an impact in their local community, right? To be able to bring additional jobs and almost reinvent the economic landscape of cities that wouldn't normally have the same access to opportunity like you would have in an LA or a New York or a San Francisco or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, the fundamental argument, right, is that America's innovation ecosystem, or America's innovation economy rather, needs to be decentralized,
Hmm.
right? It's not good for reducing inequality. It's not good for global competitiveness. It's not good for um, the political divides that we have in our country
Yeah.
when only a handful of cities have enormous wealth and opportunity. And so the basic argument is that mid-sized cities, heartland cities across the country need to participate in tech, need to contribute to the innovation economy, and can benefit from it if they take concerted effort, if they make wise investments over time.
Yeah.
That there are actual business opportunities, career opportunities, job opportunities in the middle of the country, not just in Silicon Valley or New York City. And I think that's what's so exciting about what Tulsa's doing is they've actually put their money where their mouth is. They're making mega investments. They're betting on themselves. They're investing in their own community, and it's starting to pay off. And I think other cities need to be able to do the same thing. And that's what the book kind of provides, which is an action plan to do just that.
So what's your plan now? Like you have the book out. You're back in New York. Is this something that you're trying to help consult other cities or other people who are trying to make this type of an impact, or what would be your dream scenario with the effect of the stuff that you're writing about now?
Yeah, I mean, the the primary goal of the book isn't to catalyze conversation or thought as much as that's necessary. It's really to spur action and investment, right?
Mm.
I want other cities to invest in themselves. I want other cities to take a strategic and data driven and focused approach to their economic development. I want cities to be very mindful and conscious of creating opportunities for a wide spectrum of their citizens, and to operationalize the book, to use it
Mm.
to learn from my mistakes, to learn from my lessons, to see what Tulsa's doing, and to adapt and adopt kind of my plan for reinvention. Um, right now, I'm a senior fellow at Heartland Forward, which is the Walton Family Foundation's think tank dedicated to Middle America. So I'm
Oh wow.
doing advising for them, including working with other cities that are trying to build entrepreneurial ecosystems, cities that are trying to figure out how to respond and kind of take the advantage of AI.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to take the next few months to um, figure out where the book leads me, and have been enjoying talking to cities, finding very similar challenges. Everybody wants to transition from legacy industries to tech. They want to create a more thriving, dynamic, innovation-based economy. They want to do so in a way that expands opportunities across all their zip codes, not just for a few. So hoping to help them kind of reinvent themselves as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's super cool. I love the idea of somebody being able to actually just make something happen where they are, rather than having to uproot their entire life to go somewhere just because there's more opportunity elsewhere. And that's historically been what it's looked like, and now it's even easier with things like Zoom and AI and software technology that we were almost forced to use because of COVID. But it's helped to probably, like what you're saying before, decentralize some of those innovation hubs and make it more, not just more accessible, but just give people the idea that it's actually possible to do this. We don't have to move across the country. We can do it here. We just need to have a more concerted effort to make it work in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Tulsa is a case study into two different things. One is the importance of growing from within, investing in yourself, recognizing that you have assets on which to build, that you don't have to import a company or totally remake yourself from nothing, but you have a foundation to grow on, which is important. But then I think second thing is because of the pandemic, because of the rise of remote work, because of the rise of those enabling technologies that you mentioned, New Yorkers, Angelinos, folks from the Bay are recognizing that they can do their work and not pay $5,000 in rent every month, right?
Mm.
That there's a higher quality of life in cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma, that might actually align with their career interests. So I
Yeah.
think one of the reasons why you've seen Tulsa pop in kind of national conversation over the past several years is a combination of both of those things. One, kind of investing in yourself to reinvent yourself, but also attracting remote workers
Mhm.
to town that are looking to buy homes, looking to raise a family, but can hop on Zoom if they need to, or have the opportunity, the flexibility, the low cost of living to actually create their own businesses.
Yeah, to be in a geographic location too that aligns more with their values, where they don't feel like they have to, go to this other place where they feel like they're sticking out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? Like you can still be involved in these awesome technology based companies without having to go somewhere else where it's just like, man, I don't feel like I belong here. Like this, like the just the way that people operate is not congruent with how I want to live my life. And I'm more family based and I want to have land, and I shouldn't have to choose between those things. Like that's a that's something that we've just not seen before. So I appreciate you and the work that you're doing in this field, man. I think it's really awesome. I think it's needed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, let's go ahead and move into the last segment here, Nick. This is just some quick random questions, quick random answers, and we'll get you out of here.
Go for it.
What profession other than your own do you think that it would have been fun to master?
Um, I'll give you two. One, like most, I think, kids, I spent like the first 10 years of my life dreaming of like being a major league pitcher.
Mm, that's fair.
Yeah. Um, was obsessed with Greg Maddux, was a big 90s Braves fan. Um, and obviously had zero talent. But you know,
Yeah.
not gonna lie, those fantasies blip every now and then. And then I think second is, and maybe it's the book bug, but would love to like be a screenwriter. I think that would
Mm.
be really cool to like write movies.
If you could sit on a park bench with someone, past or present, and chat for an hour, who would it be?
Oh man, I I think I would sit on the bench with Barack Obama and try to figure out the state of the world.
How do you like to consume information best? Books, audiobooks, blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos?
Um, I've taken a kind of an increasingly diverse approach to kind of like news consumption. Well, in general, I've been staying away from the news, so I'll read headlines every now and then, but just too depressing for me, so I stay away. I stay away from the news lately. Um, but YouTube videos, I find increasingly informative. Podcasts, I will admit that when I was leading Tulsa Innovation Labs, my much younger teammates tried to convince me that like podcasts were a thing, and I was still like reading New York Times and CNN or whatever, and they're like, no, the podcasts are actually a thing. And I recognize the generational divide, but I've been listening to many more podcasts, and I find both long form conversations um, really calming and informative, as well as like documentaries.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, give me like 90 minutes, or even like 30-minute segments with like just random people like myself, like in fields that are totally adjacent to what I'm doing. But like, I
Yeah.
find those types of conversations really informative.
What's a good podcast that you'd recommend?
Oh man. Well, this is political, so I don't know. Like Pod Save America has been pretty, pretty good. The Bulwark too.
Okay.
But on the Politico side of things.
What is your go-to pump up song, Nick?
Um, Jeez. I'm a big spot. I'm looking at my Spotify right now, so if you see me looking down, the last song I was just at the gym, "Shiny Happy People" by REM,
Mm.
which actually works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is something that you are not very good at?
Oh, shit, there's a million things. Um, um, I um, math, science, anything with numbers,
Mm.
like not particularly adept. I also have a hard time, like I have no poker face and like an inability to like, so like I'm going to tell you what I think.
Yeah. Right,
And
right.
I like if you see me contorting my body, it's me trying to not say exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm really bad at that. So like yeah, any type of like number crunching, and just general kind of BS, I'm not good with.
As we get everything wrapped up here, Nick, where can people go to get more from you?
A bunch of ways they can follow me on LinkedIn. They can go to my website, nicholaslalla.com. Reinventing the Heartland. My new book is out on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, bulk books, anywhere books are sold.
Love it, man. If you are at all intrigued by this conversation, please go pick up a copy of Reinventing the Heartland. I know that you will not regret going through some of these things, and looking at the actual, real economic impact, the hundreds of millions of dollars that's been injected into a rural town like Tulsa, Oklahoma. Go pick up Reinventing the Heartland. I'm sure you will not be wasting your time reading through that. Nick, thanks so much for doing this, man. Everybody else listening, tune in. Remember, money only solves your money problems, but it's a little bit easier to solve your other problems if you got a little bit of money in the bank. So let's solve that problem first here on the Travis Makes Money podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next episode. Peace out.